and welcome to session number, I believe it is 22. As we continue our adventures in England. In this session, it's going to be a little different than usual because the team is split up. We're going to do Shelley's little adventure first, and then Natalya and Thaddeus will come in for the second half, and we'll jump over to them and see how everyone's lives progress. So as we left, you, Shelley, were in your new room at Gavigan's estate. With Arthur having seen that you were off to bed. One small error I made last time was I kind of intimated that Arthur led you across the mansion to the other side to Gavigan's rooms. That's actually not quite accurate. He led you out of your room and up a flight of stairs to the third floor, and there was a smaller part of the house up there, and with a few doors, and the door at the end of the hall was apparently Gavigan's room. So just a little correction.
Okay. That first night, she doesn't know whether to feel more relieved or scared. From what she understands, Gavigan is going to be gone the next day, and she doesn't know when he's going to be coming back. Which is good for obvious reasons, and bad because certainly Arthur doesn't seem to be friendly toward her or on her side in any way. But she knows that...
no, I don't think he's left any doubt about that.
She's not in great shape physically, and that's putting it mildly, and she knows that if she's going to try anything in the future, and as far as she knows, she's got about 2 weeks, she needs to rest up. So as she's lying there, she just thinks, oh my gosh, I wish I had a carrier pigeon or a telegraph machine in here. I can't, how would I get a message to my friends? And it suddenly occurs to her that there was one time when she and Alice Hall met in a dream, and perhaps her logical mind has avoided dwelling on this more, but now that she's alone and forced to consider all options, her mind goes back to that, and she sort of connects it with her mentor Tesla's theories on wireless transmission of electricity, and well, maybe it's possible, maybe there's something to it, maybe this could be duplicated. She has no idea how, but since there's nothing else to do in this room at the moment but sit and think, she allows her mind to. She focuses on Thaddeus, on Natalya, on Alice. She focuses on their face, on their mannerisms, on things they've done together, and with that, after a while, she allows herself to drift to sleep.
Okay. You can attempt a power check for me. Okay. You do that, and then you drift off to sleep. And you actually sleep very well, surprisingly, perhaps. You wake up achy, and probably not wanting to get out of bed. Try a constitution roll for me to see how you're doing today. Ooh, you're doing quite well, considering. So your body is achy, but I would say you have renewed purpose, or at least some determination.
Yeah, good night's sleep does a world for your outlook, world of good for your outlook. So I guess with that, she wakes up and she slides off the mattress and kind of totters over to the bathroom.
Powers
Washes her face.
through the pain. Yes, I mean
Yeah.
your body. There's just no denying it. Your muscles ache.
Oh, yeah. The second day is always the worst,
Yeah.
too.
Your neck
So more to
especially. Your neck is really achy, very sore. It hurts to turn your head.
Well, with that, she probably would draw another bath. She doesn't really have anything else to do, so she would soak in a hot tub for a while and think about some things she wanted to do, some loose plans for step-by-step progress. She doesn't really have an escape plan in mind, but she has some things she wants to do.
She hears a car pull up outside.
She sits up in the tub, grabs a towel, walks carefully on the tiles over to a window to see what's going on.
The bathroom is an interior bathroom. It has no window, so the only window you have is from the bedroom, the adjoining bedroom.
All right, so she'll walk over to the bedroom and look out.
You see there is a car. I would not call it a particularly handsome car, but it's not the cheapest car you've ever seen either. There is the driver gets out and goes around to the rear passenger door and opens it, and you can see a woman get out, and she looks like that. Just smaller because she's down below.
Oh, a nun's habit.
And she, the driver goes into the boot and gets out a pair of valises and hauls them out and closes the boot and follows her inside. Someone is apparently at the door. You hear the door open before she gets there, and she comes inside.
Shelley is curious. She goes back and towels off, starts to get dressed, and the only clothes that she has, these hideous, dated, matronly clothes.
Yes, that's what she has.
She really hates putting them on. It's like when you've been out in the mud and you come in and you take off your muddy clothes and then you have to put them back on again.
Yes.
It's that unpleasant for her, but she does it.
They have the smell of mothballs as well. It's not a very pleasant odor.
She takes the top sheet off of the bed and looks around for a place she could stow it that someone wouldn't notice right away.
There is a little...
Is there a chest at the end?
Yeah, the room is similar to what you see in this picture, without all the books and stuff like that. But yeah, it's similar.
She'll open that chest. I don't know what's in it, just extra blankets or whatnot, or anything at all, but she'll stuff the sheet at the bottom.
Yes, there's really nothing in there except a heavy, like, comforter that also kind of has a moth-eaten look to it.
All right. Well, she'll cover the sheet with that as well as she can, and then she'll make up the bed without the sheet.
Okay, there's not much to make up, yeah.
Right, well, she'll just tidy it up,
yes,
you know.
Yes, uh-huh.
Pull the blanket up, and then she'll just sit and she'll listen, see if she can make of what's going on in the house.
Okay.
Is there any stationery in the room? Any paper in any of the drawers?
I'll let you try a luck roll for that. No, there is not. Although, as I said to you in private message, you would have your writing implement, whether it's pencil, pen, whatever, in your purse. That was one of the few things still in there.
She also takes the paring knife out of her handbag, and she's going to tuck it under the rug.
Okay.
Someplace where someone wouldn't step on it. Like, you can see where the chest is. Like, she'll tuck it all the way under the chest.
Yep. Okay. She does that. It seems pretty quiet in the house.
About what time is it?
You have heard some, it's a creaky old house. So you hear, footsteps and creaking stairs and that every so often. When you first woke up, you heard some creaking footsteps kind of above you. That sounded like someone coming downstairs. Maybe 2 or 3 people. Now you just hear the creaks and kind of muted footfalls down below. You can try a listen check as you lay there quietly listening. Let's see. Let me look at the house here. You can hear that there is a conversation going on almost immediately below you.
Well, she will look for a vent and
kind
of crouch down and put her ear against it.
Again, that's going to be a luck check to see if the vent actually picks up what's happening down there. Yes. Okay. Yes, it's hard to make out the actual words, but the voices do carry better. You definitely pick up the tones of Gavigan speaking. You very occasionally hear the voice, an unfamiliar woman's voice. What few words you actually pick out of it, something about expecting a full recovery, and something about your charge and all that.
Wow.
So yes, you kind of can gather from though you miss a lot of the details, whoever Gavigan is talking to, he is expecting them to perform duties.
Does she catch any words or language that are, spooky talk, like the occult, or hints of that? She's trying to get a feel
spooky
for
talk,
what this
yeah.
nun, where she falls on the cult spectrum.
Mm-hmm. Boy, that is hard to say. When the woman speaks, you can catch that the tone is stern, certainly, and very businesslike. The one thing you hear her say for certain is, "You can absolutely count on me. I won't let you down."
Okay. All right, then. She doesn't know quite what to make of that, but so she'll just sit and listen until their conversation ends, and keep her, attention on whether there's creaking outside the door headed to her room at any point.
Okay. Make another listen check for me. There is... You definitely hear... You can tell kind of the conversation ends, and you hear footsteps that somebody leaves the room, and then you hear some more footsteps, and then you hear Arthur's voice in lower tones, like he's speaking kind of like this, but you sort of vaguely can hear it, and you recognize his voice through the vent, but it's impossible to understand what he's saying. Whatever he says, it goes on. You hear what you presume is the woman's voice, also kind of hushed. The entire conversation, which is mostly Arthur speaking, takes less than a minute.
Okay.
And then you can hear footsteps of them leaving the room.
Okay.
And that the conversation didn't start for, I don't know, maybe 2 minutes after Gavigan left.
Got it. Has she heard his car or anything outside?
No. You heard the one car pull up, and then it left, actually. I'm sorry, I did forget that while you were taking your bath, you heard the front door close, you heard steps on the gravel outside, and you heard the familiar engine of the car that just arrived kind of pull away.
Okay. She is going to... I think she's just going to wait and see who shows up.
Okay.
But what she's going to do is stay by the far side of her bed on her knees.
Mm-hmm.
And when if someone comes in the door, her plan at this point is to pretend like she's praying.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't know if this nun is really a nun, but she is. It might influence her.
Yeah. Okay. So, in about, it's less than 5 minutes later, there is a knock on your door.
Shelley says, I'm decent.
And you hear a key in the door, and Arthur opens the door, and the woman is behind him, and he kind of strides in the room and sort of takes a look around. And he sees you there kneeling on the floor, looking all devout. And you
her hands kind of clasped together.
Yeah.
And she starts to rise.
he gives you a sour look.
She just looks down meekly.
He says, "You should be in bed resting."
Oh, yes, I've been resting. I just...
And you hear the woman kind of interrupt and say, "I'll be taking charge of her health, Arthur. That's my responsibility now. You'll defer to me. In this matter, at least." Because he kind of shot her a look when she said, "You'll defer to me." And so she kind of added that at the end.
How old does she look compared to him?
Well, you can see for yourself.
Gray hair?
Yeah, gray hair, the beginning of wrinkles maybe. Probably an attempt to hide them in some clumsy fashion.
Yeah. Shelley will stand up and just sit on the edge of the bed. I'm pleased to meet you. What is your name?
Arthur says, "This is Sister Beatrix." And she looks at Arthur and she says, "I can introduce myself." She says, "As far as you're concerned, you can call me Mother Superior."
Yes, Mother Superior.
She doesn't exactly smile, but she doesn't frown either at that. You can see she just kind of takes a sniff, and she walks in and looks around the room critically. And make a luck check for me, please. She looks around and she says to Arthur, "Are you daft?" She says, "She'll die of a cold. Why are there no sheets on this bed?"
And Shelley says, "Oh, don't. It's all right. I'm fine. Don't worry." And she keeps shooting Arthur looks like she's terrified of him.
Make a fast talk check, please.
Nope.
No.
Close.
Arthur says, there were sheets on the bed, sister."
Well,
and he says, "Well, fetch
bottom.
fresh ones. Her sheets are to be changed every day and cleaned. This dusty old house will do her health no good. And if she dies on me, I'm going to hold you personally responsible." And he kind of sneers and he says, "Go and fetch some more." And he goes out of the room. She looks at you and she says, "Well, lie back, child. Let me have a look at you."
She does. She'll lie back. Just, submit to whatever inspection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she gives you a very thorough look over.
Shelley's not going to overdo it, but she will maybe exaggerate a little any pain of prodding or whatever.
Okay.
Basically make herself seem... She's pretty bad, so she doesn't have to try too hard.
Yeah, right. She's basically not trying to be too brave.
Yeah. She does not want to be overestimated, or if anything, she'll go for underestimated.
Okay. Yeah, she gives little away in her expression as she's examining you. You hear her kind of a couple of times as she examines parts of you that are particularly, sore. And she does kind of touch your neck and twist just a little and says, "Does that hurt?" And of course, it is excruciating.
Yeah, she'll wince and whimper. Yes.
She said they told you. She says they told me you were in a car accident. No surprise that your neck would be thrown out. She says those vehicles are playthings of the devil. They do more harm than good.
Yes, they certainly are dangerous.
She says, "Well, I don't think you'll die. I suppose you're glad to hear that."
I am. I have to admit it. It sometimes feels it, but everything does still seem to be working somewhat properly.
There is a gentle knock on the door, and then it opens, and Gavigan kind of strides in with one hand in one pocket. He's dressed for travel, you can see. And
is Shelley still in a disarray?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Okay, she'll cover herself, but not too quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you catch him giving you a quick once-over. He's not being too obvious about it, but he was clearly interested for a moment. And he says, "How is our patient doing?" And Sister Beatrix turns to him and says, "Well, I expect if she will obey my commands and rest when I tell her to rest, that she will make a full recovery." And he says, "And how long do you expect that to take?" She says, "A couple of weeks if we're lucky." He says, "Well, I trust you as always, sister." And she just kind of smiles. Make a psychology check. Okay. He kind of comes around the sister, and he says, "My deepest apologies for last night, Ms. Franken." He says, I'm afraid after all of my many labors of the day, I drifted off. I assure you it was not for lack of interest."
Her eyes kind of slide over to Sister Beatrix, and then
she is certainly listening, but she has kind of turned somewhat discreetly as if she's looking out the window.
Of course, you had mentioned that you had had quite a long day, and I was disappointed, but I certainly couldn't have expected you to keep entertaining me at such a late hour.
Yes. Well, in any case, it's probably best that you just got a good night of sleep. He says, "I did warn you yesterday that I was about to embark on a journey of my own. I expect to be back in 2 days, perhaps, or 3 at the outset, if things are greatly in need of my attentions." He says, but I'm afraid this is a very, very important project.
Oh,
When I return, I do hope that you'll still be in one piece and that I'll receive a good report. And he kind of looks rather pointedly at Sister Beatrix, who just kind of looks at him and nods. He says, you're to obey Arthur in all things, of course, and as far as your health is concerned, you will listen to Sister Beatrix. Or do you still like to be called Mother Superior by your patients? He kind of looks at her and kind of runs a finger through his mustache, and you see Sister Beatrix color just a little bit in her pale skin, but she just kind of looks down and doesn't say anything. Gavigan just smirks. And he says, in any case, I do hope to see you in one piece, Ms. Franken. Please, you may have the run of the house if you like. There are a few areas which, of course, are off limits to you. Arthur knows the limits. You're not to go outside. I hope it goes without saying that if you do try to escape or cause trouble, not only will I be very disappointed, but things will not go well for you. You get one chance with me. I don't like being played for a fool. And he smiles.
she looks at him for a moment and says, I assure you that for the next few days I intend to rest and build up my strength. I hope that when you return, you'll have more time to speak with me.
I expect I shall. And I'm glad to hear it. That warms my heart. He smiles again. And he puts out his hand as if expecting you to put your hand in his.
She'll do it.
All right, and he bends over and brings your hand to his lips and gives your fingers just a little kiss, and then releases you. And he said,
Well,
good.
Thank you. I wish you safe travels, and thank you for bringing help. I don't think Arthur's terribly fond of me.
Well, well, I'm not surprised. He's a very jealous sort. Whereas Sister Beatrix here is all business, aren't you, sister? And she says, I aim to serve our Lord as best I can. That is what I live for. And he says, I know you do, and I assure you, he sees and appreciates your efforts. May he guide your hand in this divine matter. He says, this young lady could be of great importance. Who knows the will of our Lord? And he says, well, I really must be off. I wish you well. And good day, sister. Oh, I'm sorry, Mother Superior. And he smiles and goes from the room.
Shelley makes note of the references to our Lord and decides, makes some mental decisions with regard to Sister Beatrix. She stays in bed, waits to hear sounds of Gavigan leaving, and turns to her. Have you known Mr. Gavigan long? Mother Superior?
She looks at you as if considering for a moment, and you can see she's kind of deciding whether to answer you at all. And she says, I have known him many years, yes. And how long have you known him? I don't remember seeing you before.
I've only arrived in London recently. So, not long.
Yes, you have the look and the air of a foreigner.
Well, one can't help where one's born, I suppose.
No, but one can help where one goes. In my experience, foreigners come here mostly to cause trouble.
Perhaps. I don't intend to be trouble. I just have a curious.
Well, you'll contain your curiosity until you're out of my charge. Do you understand?
Of course. And she sits back and kind of groans a little bit. My curiosity is quite quelled at the moment.
Good. You should have been covered in his presence.
Why?
Where's Arthur with those damned sheets? And she goes to the window and looks out, and you can hear footsteps on the gravel. Multiple footsteps. And doors to a car being opened and closed in succession. The engine starts. It's the very fine purr of a luxury vehicle. And it drives off down the gravel, and you can hear in the not great distance the sound of the iron gate being opened and shut again, just as the other did for the other car. And then Arthur comes practically stumbling into the room with some sheets and blankets. And she looks at him and she says, "Well, we're not curing an army." He says, "First you complain there's no sheets, and now you complain there's too many." He puts them down on the chest. He says, "Are they clean?" And she says, "Dorothy swears that they're clean." And she gives them a critical look over. And she says, "Well, don't just stand there, make the bed." And Arthur kind of looks at you, and she says, "You really shouldn't look at a woman in that state, Arthur." He rolls his eyes.
Shelley will get out of the bed and kind of go over to a corner, kind of pulling the dress around her so that Arthur can make the bed.
Mm-hmm. He makes the bed, and you can hear him grumbling something about tediousness and irritation. But he does the sheets. He actually does a very fine job with the sheets. He's got a lot of practice doing that, you can tell. And when he's done, he takes a coin out of his pocket and bounces it off the sheet and catches it and kind of nods to himself with satisfaction and pockets the coin again.
Thank you so much, Arthur. Is there, by any chance, anything to eat?
And she says, "She hasn't been fed yet today." And Arthur says, "I've been very busy." And she says, "She must have a good diet. Go to the kitchens immediately and fetch her something nourishing." He kind of hurumps out the door. And as he suddenly kind of remembers and comes back to the doorway, and he says, "She's not to leave your sight while I'm gone. She's never to be left alone." And she says, "I was given to understand that she was allowed to be alone while in her own chamber." He says, "Well, yes, with the door locked, but never otherwise." And he kind of looks pointedly in your direction. "I expect you to honor that. Don't take advantage." And he walks away again.
Hmm.
And
I don't know why he dislikes me so much.
she kind of strides over, and he says, "Perhaps he doesn't trust your motives when it comes to Mr. Gavigan. It seems you've made quite an impression on him for someone who's only just arrived in England."
Well, I suppose he recognizes someone who thinks in a similar way, I suppose. At least, that was my impression.
She kind of cocks an eyebrow, and she says, "Do you? Think in a similar way, I mean."
I don't know. I think that I might. And she looks over at Sister Beatrix. There's so much to know about this universe, so much that we don't understand.
Quite right. Quite a lot we don't understand. Some of us are given to understand, and some of us are not.
This is true, but whatever is given to me, I will certainly take.
Well, right now, the only thing that's going to be given to you is a fine broth, and lots of bed rest, and a change of those ridiculous dressings. I assume that was Arthur.
Yes, I'm sure he did the best he could.
Oh, I'm sure he did. She kind of guides you back down onto the bed so that she can change your dressings. And as she's doing so, she says, "Yes, Arthur seems to think that since he endured wounds of his own, that he's now an expert in curing others."
Yes, yeah. Oh, I hate to be nosy. Was it long ago?
Was what long ago? She seems caught up in her dressing. It's almost like she was talking to herself and not as much to you. But she kind of stops and looks you in the eye. "What do you mean?"
Oh, you said that he was hurt.
"Many of our lads were hurt. In the war, of course."
Oh, of course.
She goes back to dressing.
So you must have known Arthur for a long time.
Longer than I'd like. She kind of smiles grimly. "You certainly do ask a lot of questions for a recovering patient."
I suppose it's an unfamiliar place, trying to make it a bit more familiar.
Fine. She finishes dressing you up, and she says, "A little exercise won't hurt you later in the day if you want to walk around a bit. For the rest of the time, I suggest you stay in bed if you want to recover."
As you say, Mother Superior.
Good. She looks at you and she says, "Not quite sure which you are. I've dealt with young girls all my life. And some of them are meek and obedient, and some of them only pretend to be." She kind of scowls at you a little bit.
I do try to be good. Sometimes my curiosity gets the better of me.
Well, as I said, see that your curiosity is contained while you're in my charge. After that, I don't care what you do. And well, I have unpacking to do. I had a long drive. I'm a bit weary. I don't really enjoy getting woken out of bed in the middle of the night. And she leaves the room. Arthur is not back yet, and the door is open.
She won't leave. She's not going to risk it this early, but she'll go and she'll peek out into the hallway.
Okay. All right. Yeah, in the hallway, you can see there's a bedroom door across the hall from you, and then to the left, you can there's a longer hallway that kind of runs the length of the mansion, and also stairs that go down to the main entrance.
Does she remember the way to Gavigan's quarters too?
Oh yes, it's quite simple. The way to Gavigan's is just up. There's a flight of steps that come up, and then they continue on up to the 3rd floor, right there. So you're actually quite close to the stairs to the 3rd floor.
Okay. Well, she's just gonna try to really impress into her mind the blueprint of this house now, and as she walks later as well. She, for now, is going to back into the room, and she's looking around for something to use later as some sort of a door stop or a door jam to keep the door from opening suddenly. And now it looks like Arthur's back.
And you can see Arthur come in, and he's got a tray in his hands, and there's a girl behind him. And he looks exceedingly irritated. The door is kind of ajar, when he enters. And he looks around the room and he says, "Where's Sister Beatrix?"
Oh, she just stepped out for a moment to put her things in her room.
And he looks at her, and she left the door open like that.
No, she shut the door. I opened it to
You
see
opened it.
if you were coming.
And why would you be concerned if I was coming? What are you up to in here?
I thought you might need someone to open the door for you.
Oh. Well, I don't. And he looks irritated now, and the girl behind him just stands there with a tray in her hands, and he says, "Well, don't just stand there, girl. Put them down on the table over there." And she goes over and sets the tray down. And she says,
"Thank you so much," Shelley says to the girl.
She just kind of looks at you and says nothing, actually, but just kind of meekly smiles and nods. And she says, will there be anything else, Miss?
Oh, this is quite nice. If anyone happens to run into anything else to wear, just these. Of course, I'm grateful for these clothes, but they're quite mildewy, and I have a bit of an allergy.
Oh, and he says, "No, that will be all, Dorothy." And she says, she just kind of nods and goes out. A little
As she leaves, Shelley would try to give her a little friendly wave.
She really doesn't look in your direction as she leaves. It's kind of head down and out the door.
When she leaves, Shelley will walk over to the food and she'll just start eating it.
Okay. He just kind of stands there watching you for a moment. And he says, well, I'm going to shut you in for now. If you need anything, just knock on the door. I shall hear you. I'm right across the hall. He says, first I have to have a word with Sister Beatrix. If you'll excuse me. And he goes through the door. So, unless you're about to say something.
No, she just lets him go.
Okay.
She'll eat, and honestly, she's probably going to not do much of anything for the next couple of days, but
okay.
But rest. And I think she's going to find a chance, in her boredom. She'll lift the carpet at some point, and she'll write, Shelley Franken was here, and then the date.
Okay.
With her pen. At some point, she will ask for stationery if she is allowed to have any from the sister when she arrives.
She doesn't see any harm in that, so she speaks to Arthur and he gets you some.
She doesn't do much with it, but
you can make a luck check.
Okay.
Okay. It's pretty plain stationery. You are allowed to kind of walk around if you'd like to.
Yes, she wants to get as much of the house layout firmly implanted in her mind as she can. Exits, entrances, closets.
Yeah.
And
so
where she's not allowed.
Yeah, I can show you the parts of the map that you can see of the estate. Oh, why are those not showing up? Hold on a second. Oh, that's odd. Huh. I have labeled the rooms, but the labels aren't showing up. And I don't know why.
Are they on the wrong...
That's what I'm trying to figure
layer?
out. Oh. Yeah. That's weird. I thought I had them on the right layer. Well, let's fix that. There's a bunch of things. There, that should do a bunch for you.
Yeah, I can see those now.
Yep. So, you can see where your bedroom is on the second floor. Clearly Arthur's bedroom is across the way. You figure out over the course of the next couple days kind of what the rest of the layout is. There are 4 guards that you can ascertain. I'll show you pictures of them in a moment. They seem to be on a rotation. 4 guards including Arthur. So at any given time, at least one of them is on hand to watch you, either outside your door or if you're walking around, accompanying you very closely. The other guard on duty appears to mostly, as far as you can tell, be patrolling the grounds outside the mansion. You can see out windows during the day. that you are sort of in the front of the house. There is a large gravel circular driveway with the one car on it that you knew of, and an iron gate a little ways down a gravel road, with a very high wall that goes around the whole property. And
Does she think she could slip through the gate, or?
Oh no, heavens no.
No.
No, this setup looks very much like it is meant to keep people out, and keep prying eyes from looking in. There, on the other side of the wall, there are tall trees that sort of would mask a view of the interior of the mansion grounds. In the back of the building is actually a sort of an open field almost. I would call it's not a large one, but in the middle of this field is like a fairly tall stele, if you know what that is.
A stele? No.
It's like a like the Washington Monument.
Oh yes. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like a little monument in the backyard, and you can make a spot hidden check for me. Let's see. Let me put you on here first, so you can actually do that. Let's put you in your bedroom where you belong. Fumble.
Probably not.
Yeah. So actually, when you're looking out the back window, at that, Arthur says, "Oh, do you see that? That there?" And he points to the monument.
It's kind of hard to miss.
Yes, isn't it? He says, if you look at the base of it, you'll see something very interesting. And he kind of points out, and you can see that there are these kind of iron rings embedded in each of the four sides of the base. He says, when you've disappointed Mr. Gavigan, and I know you will, you'll be down there in chains, waiting your fate. And he kind of, I don't think you'll enjoy it.
Arthur, I don't know why you have to be so unpleasant. I haven't disappointed a man in a very long time.
He says, you're foul.
I don't know what you mean.
Are you trying to get me to think unclean thoughts?
I meant no such thing. If there are unclean thoughts in your mind, I certainly didn't place them there.
He looks a little confused for a moment. Like he's considering what you just said. And he says, well, I don't want you saying anything inappropriate in the future.
I shall endeavor to be the proper lady, as always.
He says that while we're at it, you really should stay away from the windows. You have the run of the house, as Mr. Gavigan said. You can walk around, and that doesn't mean you can gawk out the windows whenever you like.
Oh, all right then. If you say so. Is that what Mr. Gavigan said?
Mr. Gavigan put me in charge. You see, he trusts my judgment. He knows I was born to be a leader.
Well, if Mr. Gavigan thinks so, then I'm certain it is so.
Well, that's the first intelligent thing you've said since you've arrived here.
She just tries to hide her disdain for this person. So where is it that I am not permitted to go?
So you're not allowed to go up the steps here at all. That goes to the 3rd floor.
Do they care if she goes back downstairs?
All the way down?
She's been, all the way down. She's been there once, but maybe they don't want her to go back.
He doesn't say you're not allowed to.
So, who takes shifts walking around with me?
It is mostly Arthur, but he can't always be with you all the time. So when he is not with you, there is another... The other guy is the driver, if you remember him.
Okay. At one point when he's walking around with me, she'll try to go downstairs. She doesn't want to go all the way back to the torture chamber.
Mm-hmm.
She's just going to kind of walk down there with an air of curiosity, and she's going to try to get that wallet again.
Okay. So you come down there with the driver. I'm going to have to make you try a luck check for that one.
Yeah.
Whether he seems okay with that or not. He says, those are just the servants' quarters. You've no business down there, as you kind of are starting down the steps.
She won't push. I didn't realize I wasn't allowed. I just wanted to see.
He says we are not allowed to go rooting through the servants' quarters.
If you say so.
I do.
Well, obviously I respect that then. Let's go to the library then.
Right. Kind of follows you to the library.
And obviously, as she walks around with each person, she's always trying to feel them out for any hint of softening toward her.
Yeah,
she tries to determine who's got keys, who's got a weapon, who is tolerant of her, and, whatever she can glean.
Right. Okay. So you find out his name is Magnus. You overhear Arthur call him Magnus a couple of times, so you know that's at least his name. You can psychology roll this just as a general.
Not really your thing.
Yeah, it's not your thing. This guy, it's not hard to figure out. He just seems mostly disinterested. He seems very lost in his own thoughts most of the time. You're not sure if that's because maybe he doesn't have many thoughts, or maybe he is thinking about something else. But he just seems to be enduring his duty of watching you with, patient tolerance. He shows very little interest in you one way or the other. And as long as you don't do anything, too overtly out of line, he doesn't seem to care what you do.
Okay. She'll try to acquire as many small little innocuous things as she can over the next couple of days. Hairpins, a nail file,
Okay.
anything that she can potentially use as a tool but isn't really a tool. Also, if there's anything that actually looks interesting in the library. I suspect that's not where he keeps his spooky books, but maybe.
Yeah, I wouldn't exactly say you find any spooky books here. It's a decent collection. I would call it respectable, but it's not impressive. You do find a number of volumes on Egypt and the Middle East in general, and parts of North Africa. So there's clearly an interest in that part of the world expressed through the books here. But then there's a lot of other things, about British history. There are some classics and that sort of thing. You don't really find anything unusual. I guess the most unusual things you find here there are a few books on the occult. You can make an occult check, which I doubt you'll have much luck with, but you can try. Oh my!
Hey,
And you can check that off.
got lucky.
You can check that off. We'll say you even thumb through a few of them, and you. Oh, and by the way, you don't get to improve it quite yet. When you check.
No, she hasn't been improving anything.
Okay, yeah, you just check it off for now. So basically, your impression is these are all very innocuous occult books. They're things you might find on any, wealthy estate that, has any interest whatsoever in odd things. There's nothing, very strange or alarming about any of them. Things like psychics, mind reading.
Well, that actually interests her, considering her attempts to, have dream sharing with her friends, and so she would probably read through those.
Yeah. Hence the improvement that will happen. Makes perfect sense. Okay. Yeah, you can spend some time reading in the library, or he doesn't seem to care if you take a book or two up to your room.
Right, she'll do that. And does anyone actually give her any trouble about getting little things like hairpins and nail files and fingernail clippers?
Make a dexterity check just as a general, how successfully surreptitious you have been. All right, so you're not being entirely... So Arthur, certainly, when he sees you taking things, he eyes you with suspicion, and it would really depend on what you were taking.
She might actually come out and ask for something.
Yeah, right. So yes.
Scissors, probably they wouldn't give her, but...
No. But yes, overall, just some general little things. Yeah, Arthur kind of reluctantly allows you to take certain things, but you can see that, you've accumulated a few little things, and you can see his little brain turning like he's trying to figure out what crazy escape machine you're trying to build. He just has that look, and
it is so tempting to build a nonsense machine.
And and actually, in midday on the second day, after you kind of asked for a couple of bobby pins for your hair, he actually, at the door before he closes you in, after your walk around, says, "Don't think I'm not aware that you're up to something. I don't exactly know what you're building, but I have my eyes on you."
she, when he says he has his eyes on her, she just will do like an exaggerated blush. Arthur?
At first, he has no idea what he just kind of blinks at you uncertainly.
I always try to look nice. Please don't take it the wrong way.
He says, "You really do have a filthy mind." And he closes the door and locks it.
So, I think we're getting toward the end of my allotted time.
We are.
So, we can end with her, and she is consistently, I don't know if this is the second night, the third night, and it's however long it takes, I guess, before Gavigan gets back. But she's been a good girl of resting.
She has. So, and you did very well on your Constitution check to begin with. So, I'm going to give you a chance to recover on the third day. How appropriate with Sister Beatrix, eh? So you can make a Constitution check with a bonus die because she has been giving you competent medical treatment. And you have been, observing. Yes. Hard success. So you heal a die 3. I will let you roll your own 6-sided die and half round it up, and you will recover that many points. So
Sister Beatrix is good.
She has exceeded, expectations. You can heal back to 5, which means you are just feeling well enough that you are no longer under the really effects of a major wound anymore. Which means if you continue to rest each day, you'll automatically recover another point. And you're not feeling like absolute garbage. It is.
Now, she will not probably let on that she's feeling quite as improved as she is, but if Sister Beatrix notices, she'll give her all the credit.
Excellent. I will say in the mid-morning, or actually around lunchtime on the third day, the gates open and you hear the familiar purr of Gavigan's car pull in. And that is where we will stop. And now we'll continue with Natalya and Thaddeus. As we recall, Thaddeus was just rushed to the hospital after taking a very, very nasty tumble down the steps. The doctor has come out a couple hours after he was kind of taken into the emergency treatment area, and he comes out and I assume finds Natalya waiting for him. And the doctor says, "Well, he's going to recover. I believe he'll be just fine. He did take a rather nasty fall. I'm afraid he's rather badly bruised a couple of his ribs. Fortunately, nothing's broken, but it is going to be quite painful for some time."
Thank you, Doctor. I am glad it is not more serious than it is.
He says you're welcome to go and see him if you want. He's awake. We've given him a little bit of morphine for the pain, though, so he'll be not entirely aware.
Thank you. Well, I'll go see him now. And she gets up from her seat.
All right. And Thaddeus is there. In
Natalya.
bed.
Yeah, she goes over to his side. Thaddeus. Puts a hand on his shoulder.
Hey.
Hey. I told you. Told you I'd get you out of there.
Yeah. That you did. And Daddy's gonna kind of look around a little bit. Is Shelley okay?
I... Thaddeus, I don't know. I called Alice. She said Shelley left. I called the Ritz to see if I could contact her. But apparently she is not there.
Oh.
I'm gonna go check. I'm gonna go check to see if she's where she is. Maybe she's holed up in the room somewhere. Maybe she's in yours.
Maybe she went back to the club or something.
I hope not.
Dad's gonna smile.
Okay.
I'm going to get that book. I do hope Alice has it. But Thaddeus, I'll make sure to be back. There's a few things that I need to get.
No worries. Take your time. It's fine here. I feel pretty good, actually.
Okay. I'll be back. Don't worry. Just focus on getting better.
Yes. I feel better already.
I'm glad that she puts a hand on the side of his face. I'm glad you're okay.
It'll take more than that to keep me down. But thank you.
She offers him a weak smile before straightening her back and heading out of the room. She's going to go to a phone and get in contact with Alice again.
Okay. Yeah, Alice does answer the phone and she says, Natalya, is everything all right?
I'm hoping it will be. Do you have that book? The book with the from the Blue Pyramid.
Oh, no, Shelley took that.
Shit.
What's the matter?
Well, they know you took it.
Who knows?
People, the people from the Blue Pyramid.
Oh dear. I had a feeling it might be a bad idea. It's rather impulsive.
Yes. It might be best. I don't know if possible. Maybe once I found out from Alan if his friends can get him to hide Habiba. I don't know if maybe if we should join them or something for now.
You think it's that serious? It's just a book.
There's many things that happened last night. I can't talk about it over the phone.
Oh, all right. Where are you?
At the hospital with Thaddeus. He was greatly injured last night.
Oh dear. Do you want me to come?
Yes. Yeah. If you can leave Habiba, maybe watch over Thaddeus. I'm worried.
Yes, of course. Just I'll be with hospital, and you tell her. Says I'll be there within an hour.
Thank you, Alice. And she'll hang up. And
Okay.
from there, Natalya is going to head to the Ritz.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You take a cab over there. You arrive at the Ritz. and you go to your rooms, I assume?
She's gonna get changed, get showered and everything. Get presentable.
Oops.
She's gonna look for Shelley in her room, Shelley's room, and Thaddeus's. See if she's just hidden away somewhere.
Of course. Yeah, she's not there. You can attempt make both an intelligence, so a combined intelligence and spot hidden check, which I assume is just going to be spot hidden. Okay. Actually, when you do that, you really only, so combined checks, you only have to roll once.
Sorry.
It's fine.
Okay.
So we take your first one. And yes, and then you do your second one just so we can see what the value is to make sure that you would succeed at both. One roll, and then it's sort of like whichever result is applied would be worse. So you rolled a 40, which is a success for your int, and it's also a success for your spot hidden.
Okay.
So we just kind of ignore whatever was rolled in the second one. Otherwise, it'd be very, very hard to succeed at any double rolls because you're basically getting 2 chances to screw it up. So you make a look over, right? And you remember how the rooms were when you guys left. And you are fairly certain that the rooms have not been disturbed. And the cleaning people have not been in the rooms yet. They won't be in until later, typically later in the day, because they want to allow you time to set out about your day, and then they come in and clean up and tidy up. And they have not been in yet, because it's very early morning still. So your impression is that the rooms have not been disturbed, the beds have not been slept in, and there's no sign that Shelley has been there. She may have been, but you're not seeing anything that suggests that she, you don't find her clothes that she was wearing or anything like that.
Yeah, as Natalya looks, she gets a bit more panicked as she goes. Finally just going to her room, and she takes her notes, gets them all ready, puts them in a carry bag. She takes one of the narcotic manuscript book, putting it in with it.
Okay.
And she packs some clothes for her and for Thaddeus before heading out again.
All right. I assume you will want a bellboy to help with that luggage. That sounds like a fair bit of stuff for you to carry, although you could struggle with it if you want to.
Yeah, it's not. He's only taking a couple outfits.
Okay.
Not too much. She's gonna muscle it all herself.
Well, they certainly offer to carry it for you, as they see a lady struggling, not really struggling, but carrying something heavy, obviously.
She kind of waves them off. It's fine, it's fine. Just make sure no one goes in these rooms.
Yeah, so I assume you're saying that to the receptionist.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want your rooms disturbed at all, then? Am I to understand?
Yes, but if Shelley comes back, and she gives her
he looks
the number.
Down, Ms. Franken, then.
Yes, Miss Franken.
If she comes back, you have a message?
Yes, just to contact me at this hospital. She'll kind of rattle off the hospital name and
you
phone
can see
number.
him noting something down. He says, "Of course, ma'am."
And if anyone comes here asking for us as well, just let me know, please.
I shall do that.
Thank you.
Make an intelligence check. Okay. You go and get a cab, I assume.
Yeah.
And where are you going? Hospital?
Yep, she'll head back to the hospital.
Okay. we'll just use this room for the hospital for now. Okay, you head back to the hospital. Thaddeus is there. Alice is actually just arriving a couple minutes after you.
And Natalya walks into the room, putting down everything, kind of unloading it very clumsily onto the ground. Ah, Alice, I'm glad you're here.
You really must explain. You don't have to go through the whole thing. So I assume you tell her what happened.
Yeah, and she'll close the door.
Yeah, do you leave anything out, or do you tell her the whole story?
She doesn't mention the very end. She mentions them escaping,
But not exactly how.
yeah.
Not the part about driving a spike through the guy's head. Yeah, okay.
You know.
Okay. Alright, well, she seems... I don't know if you use the word shaken, but she certainly seems agitated by the story.
Yes, and now they have information, so if we don't get back the book, then they're going to go to the hotel, and it's a mess.
Oh dear. Well, Shelley should have the book.
Shelley she did not arrive to the hotel last night.
What do you mean? I saw her get into a cab.
What did the cab look like? What was the company?
I don't know. It was very dark. It was a cab. They appeared to be a cab.
Do you have the number that you used? Did you call? Were they waiting?
I didn't call, no. But I looked out the window to make sure that she was going to be alright, and I waved goodbye to her, and she waved back. And there was, yes, it was waiting. There was a cab waiting there. Well, I assumed it was a cab. The driver got out, and helped her in, and they drove off.
Damn it.
Everything looked alright. She seemed fine when she left.
Well, she's not around now. I don't know what happened to her, and based on everything, I am just assuming the worst.
Oh, I don't know we should do that. You should always assume the best.
Oh, just shut up, Alice. There's nothing good about the situation.
Well, I didn't say there's anything good about it, but I don't see any gain to be had from assuming that everything has taken the worst possible turn.
Natalya just shakes her head and paces around, looking down at Thaddeus. It could have been worse.
Yes, at least Mr. Pepin is all right. At least relatively speaking.
And Natalya will go over to Thaddeus.
Yeah, Thaddeus is a little high on morphine right now. You're actually kind of feeling okay.
Oh. So what's the next move?
I don't know, Thaddeus. I have ideas. But I mean, I could move us to a new hotel. I could contact the investigator, but I have no evidence about anything to do with the Blue Pyramid Club. We could get him to interview with Habiba, but I don't think she'll speak to him. And she just stops, sits down. I don't know.
And where's Shelley?
I don't know. That is, I don't know.
Well, since the investigator probably won't believe us about this, maybe we get him to look into the disappearance of our friend. I'm sure she's fine, but at the same time, it seems like it's prudent that she's not falling into the wrong hands.
Yes.
Alice says, if it would help, the inspector seemed to at least have a favorable opinion of me. I'd be happy to go down and speak to him about it and see if he'll look into her whereabouts.
Yes. That would be fantastic, Alice. I think I'm going to see if, maybe if Alan has those arrangements
All right.
for Habiba.
Right, I'll go and speak to the inspector then, and I'll come back
Good.
to the hospital here.
Thank you. Will you be okay here, Thaddeus?
Ah, yes. I think I shall be just fine.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
So you're going to go to speak to Alan?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot of bouncing.
That's alright. Okay. Alan is at work, of course. It being, let's see, I believe it is a Tuesday morning, but let me check my calendar. It is a Tuesday morning. He sees you walk in and he nods and smiles in your direction. Oh, what a pleasant surprise.
Yes. I do have to stop calling you like this. She'll give him a
He
bit of a
shrugs.
weak
He says,
smile.
well, I don't believe I've ever complained about it.
I'm glad. Whenever you have a break, do you want to go for a walk?
He says, it looks like you need me to take a break right now. He says, I'll be back. And he gets his overcoat and goes outside with you.
Natalya takes his hand and starts walking down the street.
Okay. Yeah. So you go out and he goes, alright, Nat, what's going on? I don't know you that well, but I can see you're not happy.
Well, good news. There might be a break in the case.
Well, that's good news. Why the long face?
Well, Shelley didn't go back to the Ritz last night. Thaddeus is in the
What?
hospital, and we almost
Hospital?
got chained up in a basement.
What do you do, fall down some stairs?
Yes.
Oh. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. He's okay though, right?
Physically speaking, he is okay.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Good. So see, everything's alright, and you've got a break in the case, you said? So I'm
Yes.
still not quite sure I understand. Ugh.
Well, she takes a deep breath as she walks. We went to that. Do you remember the Blue Pyramid Club that I mentioned?
Aye.
We went there, and Shelley and Alice absconded with their guest book, basically.
He kind of laughs. He says, "I suppose that was a fun prank."
I guess. Though Thaddeus and I stayed a bit later.
He's looking at you like he's humoring you, but he's not sure where you're going with this.
Basically, once we left, there was this. Basically, Natalia's just gonna get into the whole thing
Okay. Yeah.
and just kind of lay it all out.
Leaving out nothing.
She leaves out the murder part.
Okay. Let's see. Make a psychology check for me. I'll give you a bonus die. Yeah. Okay. You can tell that he is increasingly alarmed at your story, and he says, he just says, "So, what do you think was going on there?" That you told him, did you mention like the idol and all that weird stuff down in there, or is that sort of not part of the story?
She mentioned that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. He says, "Sounds like whoever that was is into some strange things."
Yes. Yeah. I think into some cult things.
And Natalya, he kind of takes you by the shoulders and he looks you in the eyes. He says, "You murdered a man, you know that." And it sounds like she knows who you are. She
they
could
do.
go to the police, you know.
I
You're a
know.
foreigner. I mean, she is too. But he just kind of looks, he says, I'm worried for you. I understand that you think it was in self-defense. It sure sounds like it, but the police will just arrest you and let a jury decide, or a judge.
I know. This is a mess. This is a mess, Alan.
He kind of puts his, he kind of holds you for a second and just says, "It's going to be all right. I'll help you out. I'll help you out."
She shakes her head a bit. I've already pulled you into so much.
He just kind of, you kind of hear him chuckle a little. He says, "It's all right." He says, "There's things you don't know about me too."
Well, I mean, if you want to spill all your dark, dirty secrets to me,
Well,
I'm sure they're not
I didn't
much
say
worse
they were
than
dark,
me.
dirty secrets. I just said they're things I haven't told you yet. Things that could get me into trouble as well. If the wrong people found out about it.
Well, I'm trusting you with this.
I see that. Well, I'm glad you did. Well, I started asking around for some help, but it seems I need to step up my game. I'll talk to the old man. He'll give me the day off, a couple of days. He owes me that.
All
I'll
right.
see what I can do.
I know we only have until tonight to bring that book back in the first place. They're gonna press charges apparently on that.
Well, I won't exactly get in much trouble for stealing a book, but killing a man, that's another matter altogether.
I don't know if she'd go through the trouble. She might. I
never
might
know.
be in jail by tomorrow or earlier. Who
Doesn't
knows?
sound like you know exactly who you're dealing with yet.
Yes.
Doesn't sound good, though.
No. Similar to New York. It's all the same. Just we're in the shit now.
He says, I'll be honest with you, that I don't really know what to make of all this. I want to help you out. I've got my own responsibilities, but it seems like you're in a jam, and I'll do what I can anyway. You can see he's kind of... He's got a very concerned face. His expression is... He's got a lot on his mind now. I don't think you've quite seen him like this. This is not at all his carefree kind of general mood.
Yeah, she lays a hand on his cheek. I know I've been bringing you all of my problems. I don't know if there's any way I can help you at all. But, I'm willing to try if you'll let me.
He says, well, it wouldn't really be up to me. He says, anyway, I'll do what I can do. You just stay safe.
I'll try.
Where can I reach you?
I'll be at the hospital.
Yeah, he asks which one, of course, and so yeah, he knows it. He says, all right, then I'll go see what I can do, and I'll come to you as soon as I know anything.
Thank you.
Okay. And he heads off.
And I'll watch him go. Debate on where to go next. Whether she wants to go back to the hospital or other places. She's gonna take a walk for a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna switch over to Thaddeus.
Okay. Thaddeus? You're, resting comfortably. Unless you're not.
I imagine he's using his time to catch sleep. He may or may not have missed, and which is assisted by the warm feeling of the morphine.
Yeah. He has, if he wants to sleep, he has no trouble doing that. The fortunate thing is you're not feeling any pain at the moment. Just a kind of odd numbness and maybe a slight euphoria.
Yeah, and then, I'm trying to figure like he wouldn't really try to do much at the moment. Pick it up or nothing or any of the sort.
Right. I didn't think so. Yes, you are getting what you imagine to be good care. I'm assuming Natalya would have told them, that he's got deep pockets to give him the best care. So yeah, they, after looking at his passport and that, you can see they're kind of giving you above run-of-the-mill attention.
Daddy says as he's laying there with we're trying to get attention of a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
Nurse.
Oh yeah, there is one comes to you.
I need something. And he's gonna kind of look around. I need a good spot of whiskey.
Whiskey? Are you daft?
Do you want me to get better?
Of course I do. That's why you're not going to have any whiskey. Ridiculous man.
There's nothing ridiculous about the whiskey.
He says, you just settle back.
So are you going to get the whiskey?
She says, I most certainly am not. You're going to lie back and rest. There she is. Lovely.
Scratch it. What can go wrong with me having some whiskey? It's not like I'm going anywhere.
She says, you should be praying for your recovery at this point.
But I am feeling quite fine right now.
If I were you, I'd be swearing off all alcohol and thanking the good Lord for your lucky outcome.
He thinks that the good Lord wanted us not to have whiskey. We would not have whiskey.
Well, you shall not have whiskey then, so I suppose it's the good Lord's will. And she just walks out.
Fairness is gonna kind of look a little defeated.
And you can kind of see through the door she's having words with the younger nurse and kind of gestures in your direction. And the younger nurse is just sort of nodding like, oh, okay, whatever you say.
Daddy's looking even more defeated now. But by this time, maybe you could talk the younger one into it at some point.
Alright, we'll allow you a general either charm or persuade check to see if you can persuade this poor young junior nurse to to provide you with your alcohol.
Right. I sense I'm getting some whiskey.
It takes a little doing over the course of a few hours. Every time she comes to check on you, you kind of mention it, and eventually you break her down, and she says, I'm really not supposed to.
Not to worry, it'll be our secret. I won't tell nobody I have it.
So she says, well, I'll see what I can do. And she kind of, you can see she's a little charmed by you, or actually you're using persuade, so we'll say it's more like you're trying to convince her that you need, you're still in pain and you don't want to overdo the morphine. So the safest thing would be to have just some alcohol, right? That's safe.
Yes.
So she kind of buys it. She seems a little unsure, but by later, she says she'll try to remember to bring you some tomorrow morning when she comes back for her morning shift.
Yes, please do, and I will definitely make it worth your while when I get out of this cozy bed.
All right. Alright, so it sounds like Thaddeus is getting hooked up with some whiskey.
Needs his breakfast.
That's right. Yeah, healing boy needs his whiskey.
Is rye soup.
Yes, exactly. Best thing. It's better than chicken soup. Alright, what's Natalya doing?
Natalia's been taking a long walk
Mm-hmm.
around town. And finally...
Make a spot hidden check.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. You're making a long walk around town. And?
Probably for the worst idea she's had. She's gonna go back to that spice shop.
Okay. Let's go then. Okay, you go back to the spice shop and you walk in the front.
She's gonna first just observe kind of the outside.
Okay.
Is that window boarded up?
Oh yes, absolutely.
She's going to take a deep breath. This is the worst idea. Fuck. Before making her way into the spice shop, she's gonna take kind of a deep breath before she opens the door
Okay.
and appear more confident than she is.
Right. Yes. Just a minute, because there are a couple. When you walk in, there are a couple of other people in the shop with her, clearly kind of behind the counter. And when you walk in, she looks up. Yeah, and you could make a psychology check. Alright.
Wow. Can I push that?
How?
No.
What?
point.
What,
I don't know. I guess just really maybe intensely staring at her,
Okay.
like hands staring at her face.
alright.
Really,
Yes.
yeah, it's almost a bit off-putting.
Alright. Ooh. Yes, your eyes lock. And you can see that she is very intrigued to see you. Your read on her is that it's not one of anger or vengeance or, so it's not like she's seething behind those eyes or anything. She's looking very coolly at you. You see just the faintest curl of a smile on her lips, though, as you walk in.
Natalya looks at the other two. She walks up to the counter.
They're rather impassive.
Yeah, she puts her hands on the counter very gently. Hello again.
She leans forward. She says, "I'm trying to decide which one you are."
Sorry, can you repeat that?
She said, "I said I'm trying to decide which one you are. Are you in..."
Sorry, you keep cutting out.
Oh.
You just kept cutting out at the end there. My bad.
She said, "I'm trying to decide which one you are."
which one I am.
Yes. You are either completely insane or incredibly brave or very, very stupid. Or I suppose desperate. Which is it?
I would say a mix of all of them. Mostly probably stupid in this case.
She said, "You killed my boy." And then you have the nerve to walk back into my shop. Yes, that is rather stupid.
I am not here to finish anything. Nor start it again.
So you think you dictate when things start and finish? Is that what I'm hearing?
I am just explaining my intentions.
Very well. I will indulge you and give you my ear.
Well, for one, I know, at least, like I said the other night, that your establishment is involved with the current murders that are going on within the city.
You are so brazen. Go on.
Do you want me to put it more delicately? Or honestly?
You are the one speaking and I am the one listening.
I want to know why exactly you are killing your own people, it seems.
Her eyes narrow at you. And she says, "You really are a stupid girl, are you not? Why are you poking your nose in things that do not concern you in the least?"
Well, they concern me now. They didn't before. Unfortunately, due to some of the others that I have run into, things that I've seen makes me want to get involved.
She says, "Well, whether you want involvement or not, you are involved now. You have turned my eye in your direction. Yesterday I did not know who you are. Now you rank very highly in my list of interesting people."
Well, I do hope that I am not going to end up like another one on the street. Beaten, killed.
There are a couple of customers in here.
Yeah, she's leaning in as far as she can.
Mm-hmm.
Can't raise her voice or anything.
Yeah. They seem oblivious. I had thoughts concerning you, but after you killed my boy, I don't think they are relevant anymore.
Well, I had to get my friend out.
You could have walked out if you had been cooperative.
I did not know what your cooperation was going to intend based on the basement.
If I had wanted to kill you, I would have. I could have made you die in a very horrible way if I chose. I still may choose to do so.
Well, I have chosen to come here.
Yes, why exactly did you do that? I still don't know.
I really just wanted answers. There are many questions, but she sits up and looks back at the other customers. A bit awkward to ask.
Oh, would you like to come to the back and have a conversation in private?
If you can spare a few minutes.
Yes, I think I can spare a few minutes. She looks at this one, and says something in Arabic, and he just kind of nods, and then she says something to the other one, and she gestures for you to go through to the back.
No, she'll pause for a moment before making her way back there.
Alright. She follows, and the other one comes behind her. And they take you, she kind of directs you back to the same table where you had your conversation the last time. And she says, there, now we are alone. I make you no promises with regards to answers, but I'm curious to hear what you want to know.
I would like to know if you are connected to Gavigan at the Penhew Foundation.
She looks at you and says, and if I answered in the positive, what would that mean to you?
That would mean that you are part of the same group from New York that we had the run-in with.
What else? What other answers were you seeking?
I wanted to know if my information and leaps of logic are correct. Why you're doing these things.
Tell me what you think. I am curious to hear your theories.
Why? That is a question I've been asking myself for much of this journey. Is what is going on? What is happening? Why are people doing this? Why we've decided to travel in the first place?
Yes.
Yes.
So all good questions to ask.
There is some God, I'm assuming, if I am to put you in the same category as everyone else I have run into. Some God that you all worship. I am not too sure of your end goal exactly. That is what I was tasked to find out.
She says, and what makes you think we know what our end goal is?
Why would you be doing it in the first place if you did not have an end goal?
You know so little about how religion works, how faith works. Does one act because one knows the end goal? One obeys because one knows the mind of the god one worships? Or because one is commanded to?
Well, if it is what you are commanded to do.
I did not say any such thing.
Mm.
I am merely speaking and she kind of, you can see her kind of turning in her mind, trying to look for the word, and she says, hypotheticals.
Of course. Natalya just sits back. There are these many theories. Well, of course, I wanted to assist in stopping what was going on or how deep everything is connected, as it seems to be very ingrained into many different facets, many different walks of life. Many different people seem to be connected to this religion. I also want to understand exactly what these visions mean.
What visions? Are you having visions?
I don't know if it's just overactive dreams from things I have seen, or some sort of vision from something else based on some of the other what is it, articles and documentation that I have read on such individuals who have experienced similar dreams.
You can see that she's, as you speak in that way, she's becoming a tiny bit dismissive of you. You're not exactly sure why. But whatever you're saying is not impressing her. And the door to the main shop opens, and that guy kind of pokes his head in just a tad timidly, and she turns to him and he says something in Arabic, and she nods and smiles, and he goes back out.
Natalya looks to the door, looks to the man leaving, looks back to the woman. You said you had questions for me last night.
I did. That was before you killed poor Edjo.
Oh, I don't enjoy being chained up.
You broke into my house, remember? I did not
True.
invite you here. You went snooping through my things. You were an intruder. Where I come from, I would have had the right to kill you where you stand.
And I will agree that we did intrude. It was not the correct way to go about such things.
Yes, not correct.
Putting it lightly.
There is a price to pay for any mistake. You look like you have perhaps learned that valuable life lesson.
Yes. A few times.
Good. I understand you have grown fond of a woman named Habiba and her young boy.
Why?
Why?
Why do you ask?
Because I said there's a price to pay for every mistake.
And I am guessing this price is the girl and the boy.
That depends on you, I suppose. She appears to be gauging you. So I need to know whether you are particularly upset by a threat to them or not. Does Natalya care that much? Beyond just, or you would be concerned to some degree for anybody, but is it a personal thing or not?
She is mildly concerned about Habiba, but is more concerned about the child.
Make a psychology check for me then. Alright. She says, I have just been informed that mother and child are safe now in our care.
What?
I believe you heard what I said. I don't like repeating myself.
You're saying they're with you.
Not here physically with me.
The Natalya swallows hard. And what are you planning on doing with them?
I am planning on using them. Using them to ensure your cooperation.
And what cooperation is that?
Tell me more about your interest in Mr. Gavigan.
Well, Mr. Gavigan, there was a card in my deceased friend's effects noting the Penhue Foundation. This is why we decided when we came to London to pay it a visit. Now, speaking with Mr. Gavigan, I immediately had a feeling that something was off about the man. And I was proven correct when I found a note in his desk detailing his, well, not detailing, but mentioning his connection with some people in New York. The note had my friend's name on it, listed that a woman who was blessed was with them, and that we had caused trouble.
That is the extent of your interest.
Well, I followed him. There's that. I know he's connected to the events and the people in New York. That gives me as much interest in Mr. Gavigan because of this.
She looks like she's sizing you up again. And she says, the only reason you are alive right now is because you have shown that you have great courage, even if it is stupid courage. And it will require great courage to do what I will demand of you.
And what is that?
I want Mr. Gavigan dead.
Natalya blinks a bit, eyes widening. Dead?
Yes. Destroyed, to be more precise.
Oh. There's a... She tips her head back slightly and nods. So... You and Gavigan are not working together? Or is it some sort of power struggle?
What you need to know, girl, is that if Mr. Gavigan does not die by your hand, Habiba and her dear son will die by mine.
Natalya takes a moment.
I give you 2 weeks to accomplish the task.
Fine. Gavigan dies.
You are so confident. I admire that. But it is
Well.
also the mark of a fool to have overconfidence. You don't know what you're dealing with. Gavigan is no simple opponent. He is clever and he is very powerful. Almost as powerful as I am. Take great care. You must be clever. Use your brain, not your fists. She kind of looks at your fists in disdain.
Natalya nods.
She says, I don't care how you do it, but I'll tell you this. If you fail, and he finds out that I had any part in this, the mother and child will die, and I will spend time finding anyone related to any of your little coterie, and see that they are punished in like fashion.
Of course. I will make sure it's done.
Good. Don't come here again until it is done.
Natalya nods and gets up. If that will be all.
She just kind of waves you off with her hand without a word.
And with that, Natalya will exit the spice shop. And she'll head back to the hospital.
Actually, I would say the nurse sees you trying to get him out and says, "What are you doing in there? He needs to be in his bed."
I apologize.
She kind of very irritatedly kind of pushes you aside and helps Thaddeus to lie back down.
Yes, this one. This one wanted to give me my whiskey.
I don't think you should be drinking whiskey.
She says, "You seem intent on finishing the job."
I think it'd be the opposite, and it would kind of help me with my recovery.
Yes, my ex-husband used to say the same.
No, he's a very smart man.
She turns to Natalya, ignoring him rather pointedly, and says, "I'll thank you not to interfere in his recovery. The next time I see you interfere, I'll have you removed."
Of course, nurse.
And she goes out.
Yes, she's quite gruff one, ain't she?
She is very. Have you heard from Shelley? Or have you seen Alice?
Unless they came when I was napping, which is a possibility.
Maybe, Alice is having more trouble with the investigator than we thought.
I hope not.
Natalya kind of leans over. She takes Thaddeus's hand. I may have done something extremely stupid.
Oh, no. I'm sure it can't be that bad. I mean, we are full of wonderful ideas the other night, and compared to that, I'm sure it's nothing.
The woman from last night, she has Habiba and Kafiri.
How? How would she have them?
I don't know.
Furthermore, who told you this?
She did.
She followed you?
No.
What? Then how did she tell you?
I went back.
Oh no. Well, you're in one piece.
I know, but if I... She again looks out the door, leaning in closer to Thaddeus. If I don't kill Gavigan in 2 weeks, they're going to die.
Now, why would she want Gavigan dead?
I don't know. There's some sort of power struggle, I guess. I don't understand.
Surely, do you think she will live up to her word?
Well, if not, Kafiri is... It's not going to be quick, from what I understand. I think this was inevitable anyway.
And as you say that, Alice walks in the room with a smile on her face And she says, well, I've some news. I spoke to the inspector and I've convinced him to look into Shelley's whereabouts. And she sees the two of you and says, why the long faces? And that is where we will end.
Well,
So-
fuck!
So physically, Thaddeus can get up and move and everything, right?